Soham, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
And I think it's very funny how we're both similar in that way that you're also in the film industry, I'm also in the film industry, you're a painter. I consider myself a photographer.
Yes.
I just thought it would be interesting, to get your perspective on how your journey as an artist began and where it began.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
I guess, Love, I was destined to one day maybe join the Sir J.J. School of Arts College.
Okay.
I think that changed everything for me because all my life I've been a bad student for sure. The only subject that I loved was art. And of course, whether I was in Jamnabai, whether I was, in Utpal Sangvi for a bit, I was known for my art. And luckily, I did not get admission in Mithibai. And that kind of, pushed me towards more and more towards art. And I guess luckily in those days, it was like, long back in 24 years back.
Wow.
I think, I'm thankful that somebody suggested my parents that you need to put this guy in an art college because I think he'll excel there. And, we didn't know much about what the course would be. It was just like commercial arts. So that word itself was a very new term.
Very vast term.
Very vast term. Like, there was fine arts, commercial arts, architecture. But then, touchwood, being a good artist, I got into the exams and I got admission through. I think it was a crazy journey because it's one of the most unique, colleges that one can think of. I always say that there are like 4,000 students who are the best artists of India or abroad. They apply for this admission and only 100 get through this exam.
Okay.
So, you are surrounded by 100 schizophrenic mad artists who really think that anyways they are superior because they've passed across, like
they've beaten 3,900 people.
Exactly.
3,899 people.
And then you have these, everybody is inspirational because, everybody, I always say people come from Dongri to Dubai, Malad to Mira Road to Mauritius. All kind of students come in this college. So, it's amazing to see every person's art in a different perspective. You get inspired every single day. So yeah, I think that's been my takeoff as an artist.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. I mean, and so then I guess you started being an artist first.
Yes.
And then you basically moved into cinema.
Yes.
Or your filmmaking journey began from there.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty amazing because anyone who knows anything about cinema knows that you have to be creative, obviously. You have to have vision. And I mean, obviously, you're a director. So if you can't imagine correctly, I think it's very difficult for anyone. And I think the advantage you have also is that because you're an artist, you can visualize things like literally your storyboard is coming to life in your mind.
Yes, I always do my storyboarding myself, And those years of JJ School of Arts, what happens is that, you're trained, you're given assignments which are basically visualization assignments. So anything starts from a visual communication, that's the main base of your subject. So even before I kind of, write a novel or write a film or write any material, the first is the visual presentation. Like how will it look like on screen, or how will the costumes look? How will the colors look? How will the art look? So, it covers all the visual mediums. So it becomes easier to imagine. And of course, once you have that, weapon with you of visualization, you can convince people also better. You can present them better that this is how your final result is going to look like. Whether it's an ad idea, whether it's a short film, whether it's a big screen motion picture, and of course storyboarding and stuff like that. It really helps to communicate better.
Yeah. So I think like whoever's watching this, like I think they would maybe not be aware, but a lot of changes have taken place in the industry also in the last 20 years. Like pre-visualization, storyboarding, that's become like almost like an integral part of most projects now, because it helps you save time, helps you like understand what you're going to shoot before you get there. While back in the day, it used to be like basically it would be on the fly.
Yeah.
You'd be on set. Yes. The camera would be lined up basically depending on what the director came up with then.
Yes.
But at the same time, I still say that is also something that not everyone can do. And the ones who did it, I consider them to be legends in some ways.
Absolutely.
Because they did not have the assets or the technology that we have today. They did not have monitors.
Yes.
They did not have once you shot it, then you can only review it maybe like either looking through a viewfinder on the camera,
Definitely.
or else going back and watching it, the rushes at the end of the day or next day.
Yeah, and I think end of the day, it's not also only about things looking picture perfect or looking good, because looking good could be a good picture, a good painting, or a good visual material, but the idea or the theme or the story needs to connect with people. The emotion is the most important. So I guess visual helps to a certain extent, but then the content has to drive the entire.
I agree with you, and I think again coming back to the film industry, because I don't think see, art in terms of paintings also, there's emotion. If you look at some artwork, it can move you. Like if I talk about your artwork specifically, because you focus on like spirituality, and I think you express like the way you paint our gods and goddesses is very beautiful. I think personally, anyone who's seen Soham's work would get moved by it, and I'm not just saying it because you are also part of the House of Creativity family. But genuinely, like, I think it is very moving. It's very beautiful. And I think even for cinema, that's what matters. Like, if something is just beautiful, but it has no soul, then it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah. See, I think some things, they are like inbuilt thought process that I always believe in this, that, when we are like driving through or you're traveling somewhere and you kind of, spot a particular hoarding, the attention span at the signal or when you see a hoarding is like just sometimes 30 seconds, sometimes 5 seconds, but that one visual should grab your attention. So I guess those kind of schooling makes visual presentation for us better. That the first thing is the impact. Once you have an impact in a fraction of a second, and then of course then if you have a good story to say in a painting also, or an emotion, as you said, something needs to connect there also. So I always like to approach art in such a way that it shouldn't be something which only I understand, or I need to have a huge paragraph to explain my concept behind it. I like it to be loved in the first
basically and again, if I speak about your work, basically, I think whoever looks at it, they will connect to it, and I think more so because anyone who has a spiritual side to them, they will relate to it even more. Like genuine, like even generally, someone would love it. But I think someone has they are spiritual, they will relate to it even on a deeper level. And but what you're saying about it should grab the person's attention instantly. I think as an artist, sometimes when you're creating, at that point, you would not be aware, right?
No, absolutely not. That is see, while when you are actually painting it or trying to create something, it's more of the the process that you're enjoying, because you're not doing it for a commercial reason. We do so many things for commercial reasons. You make movies, you do advertising, but this is one field which you first need to put just your soul in it, and you need to enjoy the process of the colors, the palette, the mood of just cutting off from everything that you're connected to materialistically, and the colors can flow and you enjoy that process. So I think it's that itself is a spiritual break that you need.
No, I think it's a journey, right? It's a journey from within, basically. You're exploring your own self. You're expressing what you believe in on canvas, or whatever medium you're using it on. If I had to speak about photography, it's slightly different, obviously, because we're capturing things that already exist. But capturing that moment it's not easy. And once that moment goes, you're not going to be able to capture it again. It's not like cinema, where we have a retake, right?
Exactly.
When you're walking around with a camera, even that sunset that you capture, you will never get that same sunset ever again. So
exactly. The biggest myth is people think that having the best of the cameras or the best of the lenses or the most technically suave things can make you a better photographer. But to be a good photographer, if you have the basic eye to capture the right things that inspire you at that moment, and the framing and stuff, I think that can definitely speak much more than anything else.
No, I agree with that, and you are right, because there are a lot of people who believe that if they buy a Leica, they'll become amazing photographers. I'm like, no, there can be someone with basically even a starter even a starter Sony camera or someone with a Panasonic Micro Four Thirds
Yes.
for that matter.
Definitely.
But it's their ability to capture something that makes all the difference.
Definitely, yes. And also with photography, there needs to be a lot of motivation, you know, because to get out of your house and reach the right destinations, right, locations,
Yeah.
right, whether you are capturing a festival, whether you want to capture a particular moment with the family, it could be anything, but you need to be driven to,
Yeah.
you need to get that urge that, listen, I've not picked up and, my camera for a couple of days, I need to shoot something.
Yeah.
So,
No, you're absolutely right about that. But I'll tell you one thing. That people generally, they think that, oh, it's just a photograph, right? They think that, oh, what is the value in this? But what they don't realize is, first of all, the camera that you're purchasing, then the fact that you're traveling somewhere,
yes.
then the fact that you're moving out, trying to find exactly something, that may appeal to you
Yes.
visually to capture that is all effort. It's not just about picking up a camera and just pressing the button.
Definitely. And,
Yeah.
I fail to understand one thing. I ask so many of my college colleagues, and maybe, I became a director, but like that, many people may have done something else.
Yeah.
They are into AI, they are into maybe
Oh, wow.
product designing, or many more things not related to do with the art. But I fail to understand, why do people leave the art behind? Because, some people also feel it's very old fashioned to now pick up a brush and do colors.
Okay.
Many of my colleagues feel that, it's better to, pick up the iPencil and paint on the iPad. Okay, all fine. That's
Okay.
the technology. But I don't think anything can replace your basic core, manual art.
Yeah.
That skill is something which is God gifted, which I think you should, continue to, use.
So, you mentioned something that's very relevant actually, because we're seeing a shift in technology right now with all this, AI driven platforms that basically are, in a way, they are stealing art. I mean, we can't deny that. They're scraping the internet, they are stealing everyone else's technique. Like yesterday, there was online, everyone was getting excited because I may mispronounce it, but basically the Studio Ghibli, right? The ones, the visionary, Japanese animation studio. So everyone was getting excited because AI was able to replicate that art style and turn their photos into that art. But I was like, that is basically stealing the hard work of all the artists who have worked for that company, who have worked for hours and hours and hours to create, just those frames.
Yes.
And AI just comes along and it's like recreating that without even basically rewarding the artist. Like, I'm sure they're not, paying any sort of compensation to the studio. So, in my opinion, I think this is going to be a very, I would not consider a positive shift. At least in my personal opinion, I don't consider it to be a positive shift.
I feel I have a very, I have a viewpoint towards it that, see, technology will keep coming and it will stay there.
Yeah.
Using it is also perfect. But it is very crucial time for the real artist within you, how much you want to get corrupt and take, imbibe it as a shortcut. It's like taking steroids and making a body.
Yeah.
Somewhere, when you stand in front of your in the mirror that, listen, this will go away if I don't take the shots. So you are killing your own body by taking the steroid. I think AI is like that. Like, you need to be truthful to your core ideas. You can take the help. There's ChatGPT, there's everything. You can take help to enhance it. But if you compromise on your core ideas and start depending completely on AI, you're going to lose your own creativity.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that is a very thin line one needs to take care of.
Yeah, I personally like for example, even when you edit photos, they have tech now basically, which will basically even edit the photo for you. But I don't believe in doing that, because I believe when I get into it, when I start manually adjusting things, when I start making mistakes, that's what helps me improve.
Yes.
Right? Like suppose if I didn't know that increasing saturation to 100 will destroy a photograph, and I just clicked a button, AI basically made me the perfect photo. But how would I learn then? Right?
Yeah, the only thing is, Kush, that Love, that people like maybe us who have a creative background, they know that how this can be done. But I think all the apps and AI tools are for people who have no creative inclination. So for them it's like a high that, I can also do this.
Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's completely like who they're catering to.
Yeah, I think that does make sense. But again, I still feel that moving ahead, it's going to be a little bit
maybe it's
difficult.
a phase because everything settles down.
Yeah.
I think it's a new toy in the market. Everybody wants to try it out, and maybe slowly one realizes that, listen, let me do my own thing, because suddenly everything starts looking same.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's brief is going to look same. Everybody's ideas will start looking same. So that this is done on AI, and somewhere 2 years down the line, people will come back that, listen, we need something original.
Yeah.
So I think that cycle always happens.
See, that is now talking about AI in regards to an artist, like
Yeah.
being a painter, or like even for me being a photographer, right? Someone may tomorrow just say, I want a photograph of a sunset in Bali, and they'll get it without even it being a real photo.
Yeah.
But I'm also slightly concerned about in the future what happens to our industry, the film industry also. Because I think, see, the good thing is, यहाँ पे समय लगेगा.
Yes.
But over there in Hollywood, where they're willing to, literally adopt anything instantly, I think over there that shift will happen a lot faster.
It will, but maybe if we talk about the film industry, see, like a person like me, okay, I made Carl 20 years back, and I had used real tigers, because that time the VFX were
Yeah,
pretty bad,
very bad.
and the only way I thought was real tigers.
Yeah.
But today, forget the animals or the wildlife. If I want to use AI in the right way, I'm already designing a film where my 50, 60, 70% of the film is like the real time shoot, but my main character is designed on AI.
Okay.
So that I'm definitely not dependent on the big stars or the big setup that I require with a big star.
Okay.
But that script is designed for AI. So let's make the use in the best possible way.
Yeah.
That even if you tell me that, so no, for this character, take a real actor, it doesn't suit it. I want an AI designed character.
Okay.
So I think maybe we should see where we want to, use the
where it can be used correctly. But that's what I'm saying. My slight concern is, like, right now what's happening in the industry also, when they give you a contract as an artist, there's a very nice clause over there that we can replicate your character using any future technology for perpetuity. Yeah, that's a clause that's come in. So I think I would personally say, as an actor, that's not a great clause.
See, I don't think anyone will agree to those clauses.
Yeah, I don't know why they keep on adding it, because it's like
they're trying their luck.
Yeah, they're like, someone might not read it and they might just sign it, and then later on they'll realize, oh, I gave away my character.
Because that is absolutely not. It's a compromise. Like what they do with your character, you never know.
No, your likeness, right?
Yeah.
It's basically, and perpetuity is. I don't think anything should be done for perpetuity, or there should be a negotiation again at some point.
It could be written that way, that if you're not available, or in case of your death, we can complete your shots with AI. That's fine. But as far as you are available or there, how can they?
Yeah,
it's completely.
No, that's for the future. Like I remember what was written was that if they decide to make any sort of basically use any sort of medium, whether they decide to make an animated movie, whether they decide to make like something online. So they said that they can use your likeness for perpetuity, and I was like, that doesn't seem fair to me or any artist.
It's like taking away a piece of us.
Yeah, exactly. That's not
storing us in their bank.
Yeah, exactly. But that's exactly what I'm concerned about, because in the future, suppose there's a new actor.
Yeah.
He's starting out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even you as a director, like, I'm slightly shifting away from your artwork, but even you as a director, tomorrow, I think what we create, eventually we have to kind of let it go.
Yeah.
Even as an actor, you have to let the character go, and you know that you are not going to own that character in any way, even though you also have a large hand in creating. Of course, the director created, but then you brought it to life along with the director. Or for you as a director, when you write a story, when you write a film, at the end of the day, if you're not the producer, then the rights go to the producer. So we've accepted that, because that is just the way it's done, and we've accepted that. But I think beyond that, when it becomes like this, it gets a lot more trickier.
But I think, it's a lot to do with the current social media also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean is that because there's so much exposure with Instagram, Facebook, I'm sure something will come up which will again, make these apps less interesting, and people will move on to something else also.
Yeah.
So it'll remain for us to see where things are going. But it is a tricky situation.
No, it is.
Getting too complicated and too easy on art.
Yeah, on art especially.
Yes.
On art especially, I think at least here in India, for actors, it will still take some time to replicate or replace. Not replicate. Replicate, you can still replicate now. But I think it'll still take some time to replace actors and even directors And I have a slight concern that maybe like, because again, like, the problem is we've all been trained, even with your artwork, we've been trained to display it online. Right? Like for House of Creativity, we put in a specific, I think we've had a specific code put in that will prevent AI for scraping our site. I hope it's effective. I'll have to check with the developer, but we had that put in because I was very clear that this is the hard work of an artist. He has trained for hours, and the creativity that he's expressing here, it's just him. So why would I want AI coming, scraping all the data from my site?
Taking advantage.
Yeah, and taking advantage of it. And then someone's like, oh, why would I, value this artist? Why would I value this artist so much? Because I can just get AI to replicate it for me. Yeah. So that is another thing that I'm slightly worried about. And again, I really hope our government kind of.
No, but I think, institutions and companies like yours, people who understand the value of real art, as far as they are backing artists like us, and they're making awareness, of these kind of, interventions, I think something will be definitely.
Yeah, but we were also slightly caught off guard because by the time, we realized what the companies were doing, they had already started doing it. So then we were slightly caught off guard because that's the slight issue, right? That by the time you become aware of it, they've already been doing it behind your back. So,
It's like movie piracy and, stuff like that. It's been years that something or the other parallelly has been going on, but it's never been able to completely be curbed,
It can't be curbed. And thankfully, yes, everyone in the industry was worried that piracy will destroy the industry. But thankfully, it didn't destroy the industry. Like, who wants to watch a movie? And if they want to watch it in the theater, they still will go to the theaters. They will not necessarily wait for it to come on OTT.
Even today, there is a section who's watching stuff, downloading pirated stuff, but that's not the real problem why people are not going to the theaters,
I don't think we can use that excuse.
Exactly.
Yeah. But nice. I mean, Soham, obviously I've seen the work you've already done. But what are you working on next as an artist? Like, what is the next series or?
So usually, I think I've grown to understand this, that what mind space you are in, it's always nicer to kind of, you get attracted to a series of paintings, or you want to do something which you are more in the zone of, or whatever kind of, emotions or visuals that come to your mind. I'm doing a shamanic series, into the tarot world. There are, shamanic animal guides. There are shamanic meditation that you do. So everything related to the shamanic world.
Nice.
I'm creating a series of that with a lot of pop art and a lot of pop colors. So that will be like very, very vibrant and young to see. But the treatment will be something different, and the subject will be also something which maybe it intrigues you. When you see the painting, maybe you can spend a couple of minutes to absorb what all is going on and what is the real story behind it. So that's something I'm working on.
So you've started work on this already?
I started working on one painting.
Okay, on one painting. Okay, nice. Okay, no, because you mentioned pop art, so I mean, I might be a bit early to mention it, but we're doing our next exhibition with Design Era.
Okay.
In Lower Parel. So basically, and they basically focus primarily on pop art. So and it's, I love the way their gallery is designed, and like it's very refreshing to see them just narrow it down so much, because if you see most galleries, they will not focus on a specific type of art, right? They will sometimes maybe contemporary, sometimes maybe the modern, sometimes maybe like pop art. They'll keep on shifting. But what I like,
focus.
And art. So that's why it's great that you're doing it, and let's.
No, actually, I was recently, when I traveled abroad, and I was on a cruise, and there were some art exhibitions happening.
Oh wow!
Over there,
on the cruise. Okay.
So when I saw a couple of paintings, I really got inspired. That I felt that something with pop art should be the next one, because that was the most exciting and interesting line of paintings that I was seeing over there.
Nice. No, because that actually is pretty interesting, because like I'm slightly the opposite. Like if I see someone else's photograph, right? I would not want to kind of be inspired by.
Like all the series that you've put up right now, they are not pop. They are like more
Yeah.
like, you know, strong colors and strokes and stuff like that. But this one, the reason was that out of whatever art I saw in those 10, 12 days, there were only particular one or two which really hit me,
Yeah.
and those had those, you know, and I anyways love colors, to play
Yeah, same.
more with vibrant
Same.
colors. So then keeping a little more vibrancy in mind.
No, that's like that's actually what I prefer also in photography. Like I get drawn to very like bright images, or like basically yeah, it has to pull me, right? Like that energy has to be there.
Yeah.
Like black and white is very beautiful, very classic, it's very strong.
Yeah.
But for me, I prefer going on the opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Like I need like I need high saturation. I
Yeah.
need like just a lot of
High contrast.
visual elements.
Yeah.
Like you know, that's just what appeals to me.
So one day we must do this also. Like, you know, in the last 15 years,
Yeah.
I have a collection of 15 years of Ganpati Visarjan photography.
Oh yeah.
So I do that every year. It's like a ritual. Wherever I am, I would travel back in Bombay. I can't miss that day. And yeah, there's some connection with Ganpati, so I don't miss the Visarjan day, and I do photography.
You had shown me those
Yes,
photographs.
it's
Yeah.
an amazing connection.
No, they in fact, those photographs are amazing. I remember in our first meeting,
Yes.
you had shown it to me. Or in our second meeting, not first. First meeting, there was a narration. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. But
the narration that we still have to start working
yeah,
on and
yeah,
definitely do a film together.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So basically, I mean, again, like Soham said, we are figuring out something together also in terms of which Soham will direct and I'll act in. So that is, but that's still we're figuring out a few things in
No,
regards.
but it's on top priority, so hopefully
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah. But Soham, what camera do you use? Like,
So I've just purchased a new one, which I was very excited. Was it's a Nikon 1100,
Okay.
P1100,
okay.
because it's got a 3000 mm zoom. So
Wow.
you know,
Oh, so it's a bridge camera basically.
it's a bridge camera.
Okay,
It's a
okay,
bridge camera.
nice.
I used to use a Canon, 5D
Okay,
Mark
okay,
II and
okay.
stuff like that. But then at one point, I got into that ease of like I want
Yeah,
bridge cameras.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
I don't want to keep, I went
Changing
to-
lenses, you don't want to carry like a
Yeah.
70 to 200, 300 to 600.
No, and all my wildlife trips, when I used to go to, these Bandhavgarh and Kana
Wow.
and even
Wow.
South Africa, those lenses were like I was missing out on the moments.
You're carrying a gun.
Because
You're
you need
literally
to-
carrying a gun.
And you want
Yeah.
to keep changing, you waste time in that, and
yeah.
your
Moment's gone.
exactly.
Light's gone. If you're trying to get
Right.
golden hour photos,
Yes.
light's gone by the time you switch
So I
lenses.
shifted on bridge cameras, but this one, in fact, it's really that we're talking about it. It's just come 2 days back.
Oh wow.
It's
wow.
something. It's a machine. It's unbelievable. It's a gun.
Yeah.
It's like 3000 mm zoom on one lens. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, the sensor side is a little bit. It's not the biggest sensor. I know that, but
Yeah.
But here you want the reach basically.
Yeah, this
The reach.
this I just do as my,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just love photography, so I do it for my fun.
Yeah, so because speaking of photography, like what happens is like we said, like people feel, oh, if I'm going to speak specifically about Sony cameras because I use Sony and not because we're promoting them, but people think, oh yeah, I'll buy a A9 II
Yeah.
and I'll be a fantastic photographer. Like it doesn't work that way. Like I said, you're using a camera which has zoom range. The
Yes.
sensor may not be like, it's not even a micro four thirds sensor from what I remember. I think it's a slightly smaller than an inch or maybe a 1 inch sensor, might be.
I have not seen.
Yeah, but point is that it's convenient.
Convenient.
And I think for a lot of the younger generation, or newer generation, they are also looking for something that is convenient. And that's
Yeah.
why a lot of the camera companies now are coming back with point and shoot cameras, but with sensor technology that is much, much, much better than what you would have even got like 7-8 years back.
Yes, but the fun with us was that there used to be some legendary teacher teaching us something. Our knowledge used to come from people who have given their life.
Yeah, their knowledge comes from
photography
Instagram.
or art.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's so easy for kids to just learn everything from YouTube videos.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think there is some that personal connect with a teacher or the teaching is
Yeah.
so important. You never forget those things.
Yeah.
So that trains you well, I guess.
So you had a teacher for photography?
So it was in JJ School of Arts.
Oh, so they taught
We had-
photography
yeah,
as well
as
as...
a specialization. I had taken photography.
Oh wow. Okay. So then, so again, coming back to your painting then.
Yeah.
So your specialization was photography. So
Yes.
painting, how did painting come over?
See, painting even before JJ School of Arts. Like I've been
Wow.
artist since childhood.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
my mom is a doctor, but she is an amazing artist.
Okay.
So I think that came
Runs
naturally
in
as
the
genes.
family.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
came from her genes. So I've been an artist just
Yeah.
anyways. But one very interesting, anecdote I would like to share. When we were in college, so you know how as students we would need some money here and then. We had to buy a lot of colors.
Yeah.
A lot of assignment stuff used to be given, but everything was expensive. So you need that extra money from here and there. So as a student, like I would always see one of my friend. She at any point of time she's painting something, but that's not the assignment. So I would go to her, and her name is Archana, and I say like, Archana, what do you keep doing? What
Yeah.
like this is not the assignment. Every day, what are you painting some? Or you have many boyfriends, and every day you're painting some new greeting cards, you know. So she took me to this street at Cherny Road, called Khadilkar Road, and she introduced me to these shops where she said, Soham, if you start giving them beautiful artworks, you'll get 300 rupees per artwork, and those will be printed in a week's time, and they'll be sold as greeting cards, what you see in Archies and stuff like that. So I think that was my first, let's say job which started paying me. I started doing these, greeting cards with hand painted stuff, and which used to get printed. So I think as an artist, there's so much, like there's no end to where your connectivity starts from.
Yeah.
Where you start making.
No, that's pretty true, and like I mean that's really inspiring. Also because
I think that could happen only with JJ School of Arts. It's a magical place, and too many success stories are there. Like Nana Patekar sir passed out from there.
Oh wow.
Prasad Nayak is one of the best photographers. He was my classmate. So many people have done so well.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think at least for me, or more like I think I don't remember actually studying photography.
Yeah.
I did not study it.
Right.
I think I just got inspired. Like I've said this multiple times. I just got inspired by cinema.
Yeah.
Because me, every time I see a movie, I'm looking at the frames, I'm looking at the lighting, the colors, everything.
Right.
And like I think for me, I would say that cinematographers have been my teachers.
I would say that, even your dad's films, and I remember JP Datta Saab's films, like, all those films like Border, Gulami and stuff, they were all based in Rajasthan. So that is where I understood cinematography. Why is this film looking so good? So I think we learned everything from, I say I didn't go to school, we went to Chandan Cinema.
Yeah. That's pretty much true. That's pretty much true.
Yes.
Like, it's funny you mentioned JP sir, because obviously I've worked with sir.
Yeah.
But one thing is true, like sir, he's a visual master. Like even in terms of like, just the sort of frames he comes up with and all. And I think with all due respect to all the cinematographers, I think sir has a large part to play.
Yeah.
And plus sir operates the camera himself also.
Oh, that makes
So one camera he's on.
Yeah.
Like he's on one camera.
And that era directors, they used to capture the locations, and they used to understand the value that we've come to Rajasthan, we've come to a particular place, even say Yashji, Switzerland. The way they used to capture the location, I think today we miss that. Even if the film is shot maybe in Turkey, Istanbul, wherever, but that grandeur or that capturing needs to come. So I think somewhere people do miss out on that.
I think it's what you just said right now, like that's actually true. And I think also before, what used to happen is when you used to go on recce's and all, you used to have to actually go there.
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
Abhi you can go on, again, like you said, go on YouTube, type in best location in Turkey. It'll show you the best location, but due to that, you might miss out on something unique.
In fact, the idea of a film recce always is or was that these are the obvious places.
Let's find
something. Show us where people have gone, Let's go and shoot at places which the tourists cannot reach.
Yeah.
That's going to look fantastic on screen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's actually very true. But yeah, let's see what happens now, because even the motion picture industry going through a very dramatic shift right now.
Yes.
Yeah, tough time, exactly.
Yes.
I wanted to say dramatic shift, but
Yeah.
you said tough time.
No, I'm sure it's a tough time, but I think the best will be that something drastic, different, and something fresh will really kind of, rise out of this, because many fake directors, many fake producers,
Yeah.
many fake
Actors.
not really actors, because the only thing that has happened better was that new breed of actors
Yeah.
have
Oh, that way. Yeah, that way.
they've rised. So that is a good thing. But yeah, genuine casting needs to happen.
Well, it's good you said that. I don't know if I should say it, but yeah, when we talk about casting, yeah, there needs to be a change in that also. Like, I think again, I don't want to comment on it too much because some people might feel that I'm, personally attacking them. But yeah, you're right. Genuine casting needs to happen because it can't just be like, okay, on one side, if you talk about nepotism, I agree, there is nepotism in certain cases, and in certain cases, very bad. Like, we won't take any names here, but we know that there's some, individuals from film families who may not be well trained, they may not know the language.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, पर उनको काम मिलता है.
See, let's face this, that like when I made a film like Luck, like we casted Imran Khan.
Yeah.
Okay, he was Amir Khan's nephew.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
of course, that was a very high point for us.
Plus, he'd
You
just
know,
come off a big
We
hit.
casted Shruti Hassan
Yeah.
because she was Kamal Hassan's
Kamal
daughter.
Hassan.
So it's not, this nepotism, debate is something which is very, very uncalled for. The fault is that, yeah, there are some talents. Maybe they needed better training before
Yeah,
they come.
exactly.
They should have been much more ready before they come,
Yeah.
because they carry the legacies,
Yeah.
name, so they could be more responsible. So that's a different thing, but you can't. Nepotism is something which should not be debated, and it's worth it. The best of the superstars are also coming from there, so that is
No,
something.
so I slightly disagree with it, even though I am from a film
Yes.
family.
Yeah.
So I personally believe, ठीक है, even if you are from a film family, you should know your job, you should work on yourself, because otherwise you're not only like disrespecting where you come from,
Yeah.
but also you're going to ruin it for yourself when you start working. Because like you said, people will be like, isko kaam nahi aata hai.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And the other fact is that yes, there are some children who come from film families who are very capable,
Yeah.
and there are some who are not capable
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Actually,
And anyways, a doctor's family,
no,
the
but that's
children
slightly
go.
different. You still have to study.
You have to study, but it's a natural progression. Like
Yeah,
most of the
yeah.
people will want their kids to come into their own profession. So it's film industry which is just too targeted.
No. So see, for example, in my case, like when my first film came out, I myself say that my work was not good in it. But that's not because I did not know my job. There are many factors in the film made.
Factors, of course.
Sometimes maybe the care that should be taken with new artists is not taken. But
Look,
I can't.
It's a director's job to bring out a lot of, the onus goes on that also.
No, I would also say that sometimes when the things are being done very quickly,
Yeah.
and you're new,
Yeah.
that
To be in that
can be an
space,
issue.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not easy. It comes with experience also.
Yeah. But that's what I say. Like in my case, at least, I had trained. I had gone into FTI also as an actor. I didn't go there.
Yeah.
But people didn't see that. What they saw was acting which was not up to the mark. And I don't blame anyone for that. Like I say, what happened. But today what we're seeing is the opposite. You see people who may not be able to deliver, but they're still getting multiple opportunities back to back, which is very interesting.
Today,
I mean, it's good for them in
different
some ways.
ballgame altogether.
Yeah, different ballgame altogether.
It used to be much more pure and genuine earlier. Now there are 100 different reasons why films are made,
Yeah.
why people get work. So that's a different podcast we need to do.
Yeah, that I think I might not be in the industry after I do that podcast. I anyway don't get called much for casting. I think after that I won't get called at all. So yeah, but I think Soham, this has been great. Like it's been a great conversation, and I'm really glad you were able to join us. And like it's what I love is basically like your journey as an artist and your journey as a filmmaker. Like they're both so they diverge, but yet they come together also.
I think maybe it's a conscious decision, but I think one needs to keep the artist alive in you.
Yeah.
And I do my art also to keep myself very grounded, that this is where I come from and this is what I am. Like whether there are times when I'm not making movies for years. I may have 5 good scripts, but things don't work out.
Takes time.
But I think art keeps me going on, because that is one thing which I am doing for myself.
Yeah, it's a creative output.
Yeah.
It's basically making you express, your thoughts on canvas. So I think that's really great. But I'm really glad we could do this today. And I think, you all can catch this on House of Creativity later. We're going to upload the whole video. So I hope you all enjoy it as much as, we enjoyed talking to each other. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for watching.